Let me say a pleasant good afternoon. Pleasant good afternoon to all of the friends and supporters of the Democratic Labour Party. I want to say a special also word of support for my comrades and members for the St. Michael constituencies. I want to say to you tonight, don't fear at all. You don't fear, hard work will pay off. The education by the right excellent Errol Walton Barrow will pay off. You are not going to be fooled, and the people of St. Michael constituencies will not be fooled by Owen Arthur. So I want to say to you, do not fear tonight. I am not afraid at all, because in 2003, Owen Arthur ran a dead horse against me. He didn't learn his lesson, and he came back and ran a puppet in 2008. Do you understand that as we speak now, Owen Arthur is running a jackass against me? And all that can happen is I can ride that jackass down to Parliament. And I call that young lady a jackass because, can you imagine that nomination day has not yet come, and she has posters on her constituency office saying, vote Leonard Eastman. Illegal act, and a lawyer. She should know better. And I want Owen Arthur to tell her, take them down by tomorrow. Otherwise I'll send the police for her. Jackass. You want to run against me? You better come good, yeah. But I can behave myself. Look, you let me take a few minutes and deal with Owen Seymour Arthur. I started in St. Peter to try to explain to Barbadians why we should never trust this man again. I tried to take a very difficult, technical set of subjects and reduce them with some simplicity. I will do that tonight again, because repetition is important for you to understand and for me to educate Barbadians why you must never trust Owen Seymour Arthur and that band of vagabonds, rickers and pimps again. Barbados, that I come in for you very soon, because nobody stands on my back and shells me like a peanut when they come. Nobody jumps on me like a crappo. No what? Nobody. And then if you feel, because you can tell lies morning and night that you can point the day with respect, you got anything coming, boy. Wake up. Very soon, Jack Rabbit. Minister of 14 years experience in Barbados could have 3 weeks ago in the newspaper saying these words, that the economic success of Barbados depends on the modern management of the tourism sector. But what I find incredible in his statement is this. This is the man that in 14 years, the only hotel he constructed was to blow up the Hilton Hotel and build that one. In 14 years. But yet he is telling in order to advance the development of the country. Now, let me explain a few things to all those listening tonight. The tourism sector is dependent on the international economy, and Barbados has little influence on the international economy. When the international economy is in recession, the tourism sector experiences serious decline in contributions to construction, foreign exchange, trade, and transportation. Also, when there are external shocks, and I mean by external shocks, when you have high oil prices in the United States or in Europe, and high food prices in the United States and in Europe, the tourism sector is also seriously affected. We must also be aware that the tourism sector is one sector where there's a lot of leakage of foreign exchange out of the country. So the vulnerability of the Barbados economy, is directly linked to the fact that we continue to depend on the tourism sector and the international business sectors. That is what you should have corrected when you had the opportunity 14 years ago. You never did it. So therefore, what must we do? We must therefore move to reduce our dependence on tourism and the international business sector, not increase further dependency on it. I used to have a lot of respect for your brain, but something gone wrong. Something gone really wrong. Really going. You're spending too much time with Arsenal. That's the problem. So, how are we going to achieve economic development in Barbados and at the same time lessen the dependence of the Barbados economy on tourism and international business? Let me tell you now how to do it. And I want the people in Barbados tonight, listen to what I'm saying to you as to what we need to do to lessen our dependence on the economy on tourism and international business. And you tell me whether you will trust Oinafa again when they had 14 years to do it and did nothing at all. One, we got to reduce the dependency of the economy on what is known as the non-tradable sectors. What do we mean by that? We mean by that we must decrease the dependence of the economy on construction so that we don't have to rely upon foreign direct investment to build condominiums and hotels, etc. for our people to work. That was another policy. Sell the land, build condominiums to the highest bidder to raise foreign exchange. Make a mistake or another. Two, increase the competitiveness of the public service. That is, we must look at our regulatory framework. Our regulatory framework that deals with public issues, contract issues, EPD issues, so that nobody should come to Barbados and apply to establish a project and have to wait 3 years for completion. That is part of the problem in this country. You did nothing to do to solve that problem in 14 years. What we must also do is increase the efficiency and competitiveness of the seaport and airport. Not sell them off or another. They are part of our national security and should never be sold to the private sector at all. Four, we must improve our trade balance in the Caribbean and internationally by encouraging Barbadians to consume more locally grown and manufactured items. 5, we must increase investment in renewable energy. That is what we are doing all right now. That is investment in solar energy, investment in wind energy, investment in biomass energy. The legislation that should have been done 14 years ago, this party now has to put together and is now in its chief parliamentary council and will soon be rolled out in Barbados. I want to know what you're going to tell the people going out tomorrow. We must increase investment, Richard, in the tourism sector, in particular, a new set of cruise terminal products in this country. That is what the Democratic Labour Party has approved. So that for the first time, you will have the separation of cruise from cargo, and your cruise terminal facilities will now have home porting, new shops, new restaurants, vending operations, hotels and condominiums going out. That is how you get the job done, sir. Not talk. I want to congratulate again Richard and the Minister of Finance for the Spearhead Marina project, because that is a project that will now bring high-end yachts to the country, that all of those yachts can now be provided with goods and services from in Barbados. That is how you do it, Renata. What did you do in 14 years? Seven, decrease the vulnerability of the Barbados economy to inflation-related oil prices. You know, for all the years I've heard James Paul lament about the problem that the BAS had and small farmers had regarding increases in feed costs. Increases in feed costs because of high commodity prices in America that are passed through ADM to Barbados. So that every single month and 6 months, chicken prices gone up, the price of beef gone up, the price of lamb gone up, the price of pork gone up. What did Leonards do for the 14 years in office? Nothing. But what did the Democratic Labour Party do? We are now far advanced, producing domestic feed to feed poultry, to feed sheep, goats and cows from cassava grown in Barbados. That is how you solve the problem, Renata, not talking about it. But I want to speak to you now about one that I want you to understand the critical nature of what I'm going to say to you. All of you heard about climate change. In the context of climate change, Barbados was at the precipice of having a serious problem with water shortages in the country. Let me explain to you why. We are now pumping all of our wells at the maximum capacity that they can be pumped at. The majority of the wells in Barbados are on the coast of this country. Any climate change will now cause intrusion of salt water. And if you ever get increased droughts, it means that you will have a reduced rainfall and less water to pump. This country in serious trouble. What did Leonards do about it in 14 years? Not one darn thing. And you have the audacity to come back here and say you want government again? But I waiting for you, you know, I warming up, you know. I warming up, I ready, you know. But look, let me tell you something. If there's one major reason why you should not vote for Owen Arthur and the BLP again, I can try to explain it as simply as I can. I want to go on record tonight, and I want Owen, Seymour, Osimor, Arthur, and Clyde, Adelbert, Mongoose, Maskell to come and challenge me tomorrow on the economics and the fundamentals of what I got to say to you tonight. I want the university. I want Frank Allen. I want everybody. Professor Howard. Every single one of you to assess what I'm going to tell Barbadians tonight. I want to disagree with the proposed economic outline by the BLP to turn around the economic fortune of this country. They are proposing economic policies driven by what is called supply side economics. And I don't get frightened with the term. It is called supply side economics. You know what I mean? It simply means that to stimulate an economy, you cut direct taxes and indirect taxes, you privatize government institutions to downsize government, and at the same time while you're doing that, you cut entitlements. Sound familiar? Sound familiar? Isn't that exactly what we're now doing? Telling Barbadians is the way out of the problem in the country? Mistake. Big mistake. Big mistake. Sit down. Come boy. Look. Supply side economics, as was rejected in the United States in the Obama-Romney battle. It failed in the United States when John F. Kennedy tried it miserably. It failed when Ronald Reagan tried it miserably. It also failed when Tom Adams tried it between 1976 and 1986. Let me give you the evidence. Looking at the Central Bank report of 1987 is a good thing that my brain does work. It spoke to a reduction in taxation and a shift from direct taxation to indirect taxation, which started in mid-1976 through 1986 when Tom Adams was in office. The Central Bank report in 1987. It went on to say, this usually occurs because the tax cuts included cuts for high middle income earners and the wealthy, as well as lower income earners. Do you know what was the result of Tom Adams following that policy between 1976 and 86? This is the result in the Central Bank documents. That in 1976, when Tom Adams came to office, the fiscal deficit to GDP was 2.8%. By 1984, it had jumped to 5.4%. By 1985, it had jumped to 7.4%. By 1986, it was 7.6%. And when Sir Lawrence Sandiford took office, the deficit had poor Sandy in some trouble. Sandy had to go and introduce $118 million in direct taxation. That is why you cannot allow another to go ahead with it across the board. Reduction in taxes, both indirect and direct. And I will tell you why you shouldn't get it happen in conjunction with privatization. In other words, Leonards is on record indicating that he was going to reverse all the DLP restrictive tax policies. That is, he is saying to Barbadians that he will reduce all the direct taxes, the fees, reverse the allowances by 80 deposits in the paper, reduce the indirect tax of that. In St. Peter, I showed you the danger of that position in regards to the threat to the reserves of the country. But tonight I am showing you that what has happened in no country at all, when that has tried, the deficit got worse every single time. It did not get better. So if Leonards is going to come to you and tell you that he's going to reduce all these taxes and it's going to be done to a better fiscal deficit, it does not square with the evidence. And furthermore, the reasoning behind it is very simple. When you cut taxes for the poor man, the middle income man, the high-end rich man, and the wealthy, you don't get the full result you expect, because the wealthy don't spend the money they don't need to put on the bank. The middle income and high-income people don't need to spend it to put it on the bank. So therefore, the revenue gain that you expect never materializes. And that is what put all of the people who tried this before in problems. It is a bit technical, but I think you can understand what I am trying to explain to you tonight. Now, this one called Mud and Jeff. Mud is only, it can only be a mud, look at it now, a big head, can only be a mud. Mask of Jeff, you ain't gonna keep. Mud. I mentioned to you that in addition to across the board cuts, both rich and poor, all supplies and economic brings with it government downsizing, which is privatization principally. That is why I came to you. I'm not telling you that the way to resolve the problem is to sell things. But like in St. Peter, I ask all you here and all those who are in TV land, did you benefit from the sale of government shares in BET? Did you benefit from the sale of our cement plant? Did you benefit from the sale of Airwoods? Did you benefit from the sale of B&B? Did you benefit from the sale of ICB? Did you benefit from the sale of the Pine Hill Dairy? What would you think going to be so different when you sell sanitation, the Water Authority, CBC, and NPC, and BNOCL? What do you think will be different? And the transport board are going to get the down show soon, very soon. I said in St. Peter that the result of that action will be nothing more than the concentration of economic power in the hands of a few. Something that Arabara fought assiduously between 1961 and 1976, and we ain't going back there. So, let me spend 2 minutes on the Barbados National Terminal Company so you understand what other mad people we dealing with. Do you understand that every single country in the world, the state maintains what is called a strategic reserve? The strategic reserves is what you go and store to protect your country in the event of a hurricane or in the event of a war. Can you imagine that they want to put our strategic reserves in the hands of a private sector man? But anyway, it's still the thought. But I just can't understand it. But let me go further. Because only a fool would put the only storage of its national strategic reserves of fuel in the hands of a private sector man. Only a fool. But let me tell you something that's going to shock you. And I'm going to go very slowly so you understand what I'm saying here. The privatization of Barbados National Terminal Company Limited can have far-reaching consequences for Barbados. It has the potential to create significant inflation in this country. Significant inflation in this country. Let me explain. Right now, Barbados National Terminals Company Limited derives its revenue from the storage of petroleum products, and they do it for a throughput fee. They do it for a charge. This throughput fee is charged when crude oil is shipped to Trinidad, and it is charged when fuel oil comes back to Barbados for light and power. The fee is charged when BNOCL provides gasoline and diesel to the various gas stations. It is charged when they provide fuel for the aviation. Can G657 please remove the vehicle? G657. Can you imagine that in all of that throughput fee, that Barbados National Oil Company only takes a 1% return on investment? 1%! Because it is not about making profit. It is not about building up a dividend to pay out shares for shares. Can you tell me if BNTC and BNOCL is sold, do you believe that any of the businesses in Barbados could accept 1% return on investment? Right now, like the power in America, what it called is accept 10. Do you understand the danger in that? Let me tell you something. If they sell those companies, the cost of diesel and gasoline to you going through the roof. Because the throughput cost will get passed to you. The cost of crude oil being sent to Trinidad for refinement and come back to Barbados will go through the roof and then get passed to you. You know what the basic impact is this? It's going to result in an increased cost for gasoline, increased cost for diesel, increased cost for electricity, and so on. But you know, what I find incredible, and I gotta go slowly here, is because Oinatha and Maskell is on record saying that Barbados is in stagflation. That means it has a high inflation rate. Can you imagine that if you have increases in gasoline fees, diesel fees, for businesses, for companies that use diesel, fuel oil that goes like a power? You understand the inflationary impact in this country? Ladies and gentlemen, don't let it happen. I have a couple minutes, so I'm going to wrap up by shifting to that one called Kerry Simmons for 2 minutes. Look, this man is numerically challenged. The man does not even understand what a design, build, finance and lease project is. He does not even understand that when he went and made the comment when I was in Japan that I misled Barbados and the Prime Minister to get rid of me from the cabinet because the project was a $50+ million project, that he was the one who didn't understand basic mathematics. What is interesting in this is to say that he spoke with great bravado, a lot of panache, great confidence in aplomb, but he was blasted well wrong. of 2 million a year per year for 20 years, it's 40 million. And when I added back in the construction cost to it, they come at 52 million of water dumps. 1 dumps. And he go there talking about nothing. He know what we talking about. Embarrassing, why not? I don't know why not and me and Marley. Don't send them to ABC school for PPPs. That's when you need to go back and start embarrassing themselves in Barbados, talking nonsense. You know, somebody told me, he now saying he wants to find out whether or not you can really store molasses in the concrete tank. Oh Lord, full idiot. Technology on concrete has gone to the point now that you can make it waterproof. You can make it corrosion resistant and so on. So you can walk up and go to every scientist you want. I am one to and never fail an exam in science, half idiot. Never fail one. Never fail one, Gary Simmons. But I can tell you something. Nobody never catch me red-handed. Nobody never catch me red-handed. Benton background without people's house. And cut up people for the carriage stairs and top them up the ass of seats. I don't get involved in that. I am too big for that, Simmons. So when you want to come and fight, get your back straight, partner. Get your back straight. Because all I'm going to say to you is that I warming up. I warming up. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart tonight. And you are an attentive audience. I now leave the podium for my friend Minister Sinclair and for the Prime Minister to take the battle forward. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.